So student loans just got forgiven, and I'm a large holder of SoFi, and SoFi obviously did not respond very well to this news at all, and that's expected. The first thing I thought about when I saw that student loans got forgiven, well, I should clarify: $10,000 worth of student loans got forgiven, and 20,000 of student loans got forgiven for some people. But when that news happened, the first thing that I really thought about was, well, SoFi stock's obviously about to go down quite a bit. And I don't think it should have really went down that much based off this news, and I'm about to get into that in a second. But when you look at SoFi as a company, yes, they definitely do make quite a bit of revenue from student loan refinancing. And they're hoping people refinance their student loans on SoFi so they can get a better interest rate, and then SoFi can make revenue from those interest payments. And that's how they make a lot of their money. But when you look at SoFi as a company, I think that this is going to become, and is already becoming, a very small percentage of their actual revenue. Like SoFi does a lot with investing, they do a lot with credit cards, they recently have started doing a lot with banking, and I think it's an amazing bank. It definitely doesn't make sense for it that as a business for itself to be trading at $5 a share, but you know, while they also do a lot with loans, they don't just do student loans, they also do personal loans and, loans like that. But while it makes sense for their, stock to decrease off of this news, I do believe that SoFi is still an excellent stock to hold. And I hold quite a bit of shares myself. And, I'm obviously buying more and more shares, especially at these lower prices right now. Like when I saw it, I was almost thankful because I have not reached the amount of shares that I want in this company yet. And obviously, if you're buying anything, like imagine if you walked into a store and you're going to buy a shirt, right? And you see that the shirt is trading at half its value. Obviously, you'd be very glad about that because you're buying it, and obviously, you'd want to buy it at a much better price. And the thing that I always found interesting is that with everything someone wants to buy, we think of it like that we want it at the lowest price we can get. But for some reason, when you're buying into businesses, it's almost rare to find that thought process. And that's never made sense to me. Like if I'm buying anything, I want it the lowest price possible. So if I'm buying shares of the company, like there's a certain amount of shares that I want. I can't buy all that at one time. I gotta slowly put money into it over a long period of time to accumulate a certain amount of shares. Obviously, I don't want that to go up in price because then I have to spend more money on it. So with SoFi, I was definitely glad that it fell quite a bit, but I can't help but think that it really shouldn't fall that much because I think it's an excellent business. I think they have so many revenue streams that I think is going to become more and more and more and more obsolete over time. And not because I think less people are going to want to refinance their student loans through SoFi. I just think their other revenue sources are going to grow so much that that's not going to be that important of a revenue source. So, with the student loans being, a lot of like a big percentage of people's student loans being forgiven, I think a lot of people will still refinance with SoFi so they can get a better interest rate because obviously you'd rather pay the least amount of interest as possible. And, for a lot of people, even like, $10,000 being forgiven, for a lot of them it's a drop in the bucket almost. So I do think SoFi will continue to do very well. I think loans itself, might slow down. Like I think less people might refinance with SoFi, but I think their bank is going to grow pretty dramatically. I think more and more people will invest with SoFi, like especially college-aged people. And and I wrote about this the other day on financebystdt.com, but my entire thinking with SoFi is that it's going to become the obvious investing app for college-aged people to use. And then they probably will refinance their student loans with SoFi because they're familiar with it. They'll start a bank with SoFi because it's a higher percentage they're making off their money being held in that bank than their own bank. And a lot of them will get credit cards SoFi because they know they need to build their credit. Like their ability to cross sell their services. Like a lot of people will, like for me, for instance, I joined it to invest with. And now I've used quite a bit of their services. So yeah, I do think SoFi is an amazing business. Obviously this did hurt their business a little bit and should have, but not to this effect. But I really think it's, you know, I view this as more of an opportunity to accumulate more shares than a problem. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of the opportunity that I've been given and buy more and more and more shares of SoFi. And, I think it's an excellent business that I'm, happy to invest in. So that's really my thought process with that.